Good evening. My name is Jeff Casimir. I've spent my entire adult career teaching people, so I wanted to share some of those tips with you tonight. What better talk for Ignite than the lighting of fires? In one context or another, I think all of us teach people, whether it's children, peers, clients, or clients who act like children. You need to teach people. So here are a few ideas on how to do that better. Start off with Maslow. Maslow researched learning, why people learn, how they learn best. And he had this idea that there's an innate desire to learn, to become the person you want to be. In order to learn things, though, you need to feel a sense of safety and belonging between you and the person who's teaching you. As a teacher, how you respond to failure either builds or destroys the confidence of the people, of your learners. Responding, how you respond, how you handle that, creates the whole equation. It's not enough to just celebrate success. In fact, celebrating success is pretty much worthless. When you have success, the learning has already happened. You need to focus more on your mistakes. They need to happen all the time. Mistakes should happen early, they should happen often, and they should happen safely. So that's the big picture idea. In order to teach someone something, you need to make a plan, right? So you can't succeed without a plan. It's literally impossible, because if you don't have a plan, you don't know when you're done. Otherwise you just stop at some point and say like, oh yeah, this seems good enough, The problem with most plans, especially learning plans, is that they have weak goals. Weak goals specifically are process-centric. They focus on what you're gonna do. So let's say we're doing cabinetry and we say, I'm gonna build this cabinet. That goal sucks. That's not about learning, it's about doing something, okay? A strong goal is learner-oriented. It's about what you can do, what skills you'll have when the learning is finished. So instead of, I'm gonna build a cabinet, you say, I'm going to master the art of designing and building cabinets. It's subtle, but it's different. Just having that goal is not good enough, though. Learning is the process of moving from a start to an end. The goal is your end, that's fine, but you also need to spend time thinking about the start. Where you begin is just as important as where you're gonna end. You can't just make it up. You need to measure what you know right now. Otherwise, you have no idea if the process is successful. And this is a mistake that a lot of teachers make. They just decide what they're gonna teach without first measuring what people know. So that's the starting point to the ending point. It's too big, they're far apart. The best process to break it down is to go to your end and start walking backwards from that end. What would it look like just before you achieved mastery of that skill? Then take one little step back from there, and eventually you build a path backwards of skills, eventually getting back to your start. Now, connecting those dots, it's not one big jump from start to finish, it's little jump, little jump, little jump. They're not scary, they're easy. Those plans, though, they need to be agile. They always have to change on the fly. No plan survives contact with the enemy, especially when they're children. And just having a plan, though, it allows you to make intelligent decisions about those changes. You consciously decide to change things, okay? So as you do that, you've got the plan, you've got the learners ready, you can finally teach. Teaching can't be about showing. Doing presentations is the worst way to teach people things. It needs to be done through doing. That's the only effective way to teach. So here's a model for doing. It's called the gradual release of responsibility. It starts with the I do, and this is what you're accustomed to. I, as a master, I show you how to do things. Maybe I narrate how I walk through the steps, or might do it silently. I just show you. And then a lot of people just hand it off to the learner at that point. Now you've seen it, you do it. No, you need a middle step of the we do. With the we do, you start to gradually transfer responsibility. Think of it like a big weight, like a bowling ball, that you don't just toss it to somebody and they're like, oh, shit. You have to slowly hand it to them, and that's how expertise transfers. So you might start asking small questions, like, does anybody remember what the next slide is? And gathering that expertise from the learner piece by piece, gradually handing over that responsibility. And as they accept it, pretty soon the master is just a limiter to the process. The master is now just accepting instructions. They're like a robot just doing whatever the learner says. And at that point, the learner says, forget you, man, I know how to do this. It's easy, right? I've been doing it. There should never be a moment in learning where the learner goes, oh crap, what do I do now? If it's gradual, if it's one small piece at a time, they come along and they just say like, yeah, no problem, I got this. It doesn't have to be about suffering. It's not beating your head against the wall. Learning can just be the peaceful practice of simple skills. Practice is the best word, right? I love the quote, amateurs practice until they get it right, and professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. This is the 10,000 hours you hear about. It's in my world, software, there's a lot of talk about craftsmanship. It's about practicing for a lifetime. And if skills aren't worth practicing for a lifetime, they're probably not worth learning in the first place. So build confident learners, work backwards from your big goals, gradually hand off that responsibility, and then practice, practice, practice. Thank you.